welcome back, everybody, to the next episode of Zafs Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Jesus. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, man. Like, I reached out to you in the past to come on the show. I think, you've got a really interesting career, especially with your drumming. We'll get into everything. Actually, before we get into that, do you want to kind of introduce yourself to the guests, people who are watching, about who you are, what you do?
Sure. All right, I'm Nick Andreo, short for Andreopoulos. I'm a drummer in Sydney. I also teach, so I do recordings, play gigs, obviously teach students. Didn't need to say that again. And I run a drumming podcast as well.
Yeah. Actually, let's get into the drumming podcast because what inspired you to do a podcast purely about drumming? So the podcast, for people listening, it's called the Drumming Mastermind Podcast. Thanks. Of course, free plug. What inspired you to even start that and to do a podcast purely about drumming?
Sweet. Okay, so it was never my own idea. Years ago, I wanted to write a book on drumming for drummers who play multiple styles.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because at the time I was playing in Breaking Point, the metal band, and
Sorry, do you bring the mic a little bit closer?
Sorry, man.
No, you're right.
so I was playing metal, and then also in a wedding band at the time, and I had struggles like playing appropriately from metal to jazz or Latin. So I wanted to pick the brains of my favorite drummers in different genres to see what were the typical elements of the playing styles. So I started interviewing drummers with the intent that I was going to summarize my findings and come up with a book to help others in the same position. But every drummer I spoke to, they all said, you should turn this into a podcast. And so these drummers were Matt Halpin from Periphery, Alex Rudinger, who's another metal drummer in the US, Anoop Sastry, another metal drummer, and some local drummers who played cover gigs here. And they all said the same thing. And then at some point, I'm like, if someone tells me to do it again, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then that happened. And I'm glad, because if I stuck with the book idea, it never would have gotten done.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you start writing anything, or did you
Yeah, a little bit. Because I would type up all the interviews back then.
Yeah.
And just highlight the key points and put my own spin on it as well. And yeah, I just didn't commit enough to it, and I'm glad I ended up doing the podcasting because it's just so much easier.
Yeah.
To get stuff out there. That being said, it's not easy. I'm sure you understand having to edit videos and
man.
all that stuff. So, but the talking part is easy, and I'm glad it's documented. So,
Yeah. 100%. No, I think to go, we'll rewind back into your podcast, but to talk about, especially about the editing of podcasting. Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's a lot of behind the scenes that people don't really see. Especially, there are tools out there now. I don't know if you utilize these tools, but for when I'm doing long form content, I actually have AI help me do this stuff now.
Opus?
It's like an extension tool for Premiere Pro. I don't know what the actual brand is called.
Yeah.
But I found it online. Actually, one of my friends, Irene, sent it to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll give it a go and see what happens. I pay I don't know, $30 a month or something to use it, which is not bad.
Yeah.
But it saves me. It used to take me, for every 15 minutes of content that you watch, it would take me an hour of editing behind the scenes. Just constantly cutting and bringing videos and audio and all that sort of stuff. And then with the AI, it literally, all I have to do is just clip the start, clip the finish, get that all queued.
Yeah.
I press start and it has it edited within 3 minutes.
You're kidding.
I'm not joking.
You got to tell me what it is.
Oh, 100%. Do you use Premiere Pro?
I was, until, because of the editing thing, I just started paying a guy to do some editing for me.
Oh, that's so good, dude. Do you get the same guy to do TikToks and Reels and stuff like that? Or do you do that on your own?
For the short Reels and all that stuff, I use that Opus Pro thing because it goes through a whole 1 hour episode or whatever and like gets what it thinks are the highlights, snips it up into however long you want each clip to be, and adds captions.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's really cool, man. I might look into that.
Yeah.
Free or is it paid?
There is a free version, I think.
Okay.
But like it's definitely worth paying for it.
Yeah, okay.
I also don't know how much it costs because my wife handled that. So, but it's good.
It probably saves you a shit ton of time.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
But in like with the recent episode with Derek, I went through the episode myself and picked the highlights, and then I got Opus to do it. Maybe only 3 lined up. So
Oh, really?
yeah. So I don't know I don't know how it works out, the highlights. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. So
Yeah, of course. It goes without saying.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. I'm definitely going to be looking into that. But we're going to dive into the Derek podcast a little bit later.
For sure.
I didn't watch all of it.
Yeah.
But I
long.
did watch most of it.
Yeah.
But going back to, your origin story of the podcast and, people telling you should do a podcast. And I agree with them, actually. I think you did the right thing. Start the podcast.
Thanks, man.
No, bro, your last video, have you seen the views that it got? I checked this morning.
But I pay for Google ads.
Do you find that helps?
I don't know, because this is something that I'm still trying to work out it's putting my subscribers up and, of course, the views. But the comments and engagement is quite low.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. I also did a cheeky thing. Sorry, not a cheeky thing, a lazy thing. So I took the Google ad that I had set up for one of my drum videos and just copy pasted it.
Yeah.
So it's not entirely relevant to a podcast episode.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that plays a role.
Okay.
But I'll give it another go with a bit more effort.
Yeah, for sure. No, I did a while ago try to do ads on TikTok and Instagram. I find Instagram is just shit.
I've heard Instagram is like, don't even bother.
Yeah. Like I did it a couple times and I went, this didn't do anything for me. So I just completely scrapped Instagram. TikTok was a funny one because it felt good, but it wasn't it was like the same thing as like, the views go up, the likes go up, but you don't get, like, you look at the engagement and it'll say like 10% of the viewers watched the full video, or not even, like maybe 5%. And you're like, so it's just throwing it out to random people and they're just skipping it and it's counting as a view.
Yeah. I think where it worked, like just how I've simplified it in my head is, okay, the big numbers will validate to other people that this is worth watching.
Yeah.
Whether they're real or not. Is another question. I don't think people think about that. I think they just see the amount of views and the amount of subscribers or followers, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, this seems
like it's got a big following.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll follow too.
That's right. Yeah.
100%.
So if you think about it from that way, and if it works, whatever.
Yeah. Like honestly, it's that trial and error road.
Yeah.
Like you just keep doing it and just keep growing and growing and hopefully that's the plan. Like to keep growing and growing. and growing.
Yeah.
But going back to your podcast.
Yep.
Do you find that you were able to refine your skills? Like, you were saying you were struggling to go from metal to jazz and to go from jazz to classic or something like that.
Yeah.
Did you find that you were able to get some answers and to refine anything?
It's funny because after starting the podcast, it sort of went away from that.
Okay.
But if I look at the interviews, I can find the answers.
Okay.
For that. And it's been amazing anyway to learn about other drummers, their practice routines, and their struggles and whatnot. So it's probably even better because it will apply to more drummers than just myself.
Yeah.
So
that's the whole point, right? The
Yeah,
podcast is for other drummers to kind of watch this and to learn.
Yeah.
And you're getting up there, man. Like going back to what I was saying with your last video, you got okay, irrelevant that you did Google ads, it's fine, but you still 36,000 views is nothing to like not look at. You know what I mean? That's a crazy number. Even when I did like some views, I never got 36,000. Like I think you actually got some natural engagement from that.
Hopefully. I really hope. Like it hasn't boosted my Instagram following that much.
Okay.
I think what really helps is when those featured drummers share. That
Of course,
that really
yeah.
helps. But I'm okay with you, because even for me, like I might see a YouTube video and I'll like mentally I'll like it and get a lot from it, but unless it's a friend who I'm supporting, I probably won't click like and subscribe, if that makes sense, which is
Yeah.
like a bit of a, oh, can we swear?
Yeah, of course, bro.
Yeah.
This is a super casual podcast.
It's a bit of a dick move, but it's not intentional at all. But yeah, so knowing how I approach liking and subscribing, I'm okay with the, let's call it the fake results of Google ads.
Yeah. But still, like, as long as you're going in the right direction. I think that's what
yeah.
mainly counts at the end of the day. And then
For sure.
eventually, I've watched a lot of people talk about it. You just need that one video. That
Yeah,
one video that's going to
that's
break
true.
you out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just got to keep going and keep going and keep going. And eventually, as long as you don't stop and you're consistent. And I think one thing that Mr. Beast actually said I was watching one of his videos. He goes, as long as you are trying to actively get better every video, eventually you'll get that video. You get that engagement. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like that saying, I was an overnight success in 10 years or something like that. Like, it's true.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Matt Rife, right? Funny example, right? So, do you know who he is? He's like a comedian. Okay, so Matt Rife's a comedian. And he was talking about how he was doing comedy for like 10 years or something, and he wasn't really getting anywhere. And he struggled, it was just kind of like the average Joe Blow sort of comedian.
Yeah.
And then obviously he was still posting TikToks and whatever. And at the tail end, like just before I think he was about to give up and go, you know what, maybe this isn't for me and I need to do something else. He put a TikTok out there and that video blew up overnight and got like 30 million views. So you're exactly right when you said like it's 10 years worth of like grinding and putting videos and content, and then you finally get that one and then you blow up. You know what I mean? It's 10 years of work to get to that overnight success.
Yeah.
So, but the Derek podcast, how did you land him? Because for people who don't know, Derek McKenzie is the drummer for Jamiroquai.
Yeah.
So love that band, by the way. Derek, big fan. That's why I watched the episode. As soon as you saw, I watched it and I went, he's the drummer for Jamiroquai. And I'm like, I've got to watch this. So how did you land that guest?
To be honest, I just sent him an email.
Wow.
Yeah, I just said, hey, Derek, I've been a fan since I started drumming, which was true. And I just said, I've had these guests on so far. It's been really good, for me at least. And I just said, yeah, like, would you be open to doing a podcast? And I also just add, because what I've learned is you need to give value back.
Of course.
So
they're not just going to do something for nothing,
Yeah. So, I mean, people will, but people can.
Yeah.
But it's always good to just go out of your way to do that. And so I also just added, like, if you have any projects coming up, we can wait till then. That way we can talk about it and promote it as well. And I just got a reply saying he was happy to do it. And then I wanted to go above and beyond as well, because like I was blown away. He's a hero of mine. So I said, how about we also do a lesson, and that way I'll like provide value to you monetarily.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can just shit on my playing.
Just completely grill me.
Yeah, exactly. And he was keen for that. So, and I'm still in disbelief and super grateful, because we spoke on 3 occasions. We had the first chat, which went for 2 hours. We had a second chat, which went for another 2 hours. And then we had the roasting session as well, which went for an hour or so. So
Yeah.
And he's a busy guy. To get his time, let alone someone of his status, was amazing. Like, yeah. And he's such a gentleman too. Like, I still message him just random things and he talks.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's so funny how you just go, I just emailed him. You know what I mean? I just reached out. There's literally no harm in just reaching out and seeing what happens.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are scared to do that. Look, I'll be honest. Sometimes I'm a little bit like that too. And I think it's because I'm a very small podcast. I've only got about, recently started to grow a little bit now. I've got about like 200 followers on Instagram, 200 subscribers on YouTube, about 2,500 ish on TikTok.
Yep.
So, but TikTok doesn't really translate to people coming and listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
And, so it's a small podcast. And that's why I think recently I've just started, I reached out to you, and I'm reaching out to other people who have really interesting stories. Because I think, really interesting story. And
Thanks.
just to go from there. And you said yes. And I was like, fuck yeah, that's mad.
Well, thanks.
Well, thank you, because you're a lot bigger than me.
No, it's nothing like that. As you can see with the drummers who come on my podcast, they're not. I think we make up this illusion that, we're only the little guy or whatever. Why would someone like that appear on our podcast?
Yeah.
But we make it up in our heads.
100%.
Of course, sometimes people are snobby or too busy, and that's okay. But we've not got anything to lose by asking.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
100%. So do you find that doing the podcast for drumming, you've gotten better as a drummer? Do you find that that's actually helped? Because you had the roasting session with Derek.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's helped?
100% from the roasting session.
Yeah.
I can, without a doubt, say yes.
Yeah.
With the other things, yes as well. But I think it's up to me more so to action whatever comes up from those podcasts.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You got to make that effort. Do you find, because I'm not sure what your schedule is like now. Do you still do metal gigs as well as because I think you're part of a cover band as well, and you do your local gigs and stuff like that?
I was a permanent member of a cover band, but now I'm more freelance, just whatever comes up.
Yeah.
And in terms of metal stuff, I write my own music.
Oh, that's cool.
With a producer who's a guitarist.
Yep.
But I'm not a full-time member of any band at the moment, except for this new project, which is, you might be into this, video game music.
Oh, fuck yeah. We'll get into that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm sort of dedicated to at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that your main job right now, is focusing purely on music?
Yeah. I teach drums, and that's the biggest bulk of my income.
Yeah.
Prior to COVID, it was about 50-50 between gigs and teaching, but now it's 90 or 95%
teaching.
drum teaching. Yeah.
Do you do a lot of teaching during the day, or is it mainly, because I feel like it'd be either before or after school, or depending on the individual, really?
Yeah. It was all afternoons, but over the last 2 years, I've gotten into high schools and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so 3 days of the week, I basically teach 9 a.m. till 8:30 p.m.
Oh, wow. So big days, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, wow.
So I do the schools during the day and then home visits in the evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, look, as long as you're doing what you love, I think that's an honorable in itself, you know what I mean? So, eventually, I would like to be doing this more full-time.
Yep, for sure.
I'm not really making any money on the podcast, which, to be honest, for me, I never really did it. I am doing it for the money in the future. I'm thinking long-term, but I'm also thinking I don't like the fact that prior to the podcast, I was kind of just wasting my time doing nothing, really. And I would much rather spend my time doing something, you know what I mean? And I feel like doing the podcast, even though, let's say, for argument's sake, it doesn't go anywhere. I think it will in the future. I believe it will. I still think that's way more productive because I'm talking to people. I'm finding out about interesting stories. And I think that's just way more value in that than doom scrolling on TikTok for 5 hours a day.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I enjoy I was listening to an episode of yours on the way, the car one.
Oh, yeah. There's a few, actually, that are about cars.
But the one where you guys were picking, top 7 cars.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just thinking to myself, what is it about it that I enjoy? Because I never would have thought I'd enjoy just listening to people talk.
Yeah. 100%.
Unless it's something specific like drumming or whatever. But I haven't worked out why I enjoy it. Is it because I know you and, or whatever? But I enjoyed it. It's good entertainment. And
thanks, man. I appreciate that.
No worries. And if there's something to learn from it as well, if you're getting more people with interesting stories on, then other people could benefit from that.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of people who are drummers who listen to this actually really may benefit from you. And they should really listen to your podcast. So, Drumming Mastermind Podcast. If you're listening, definitely like and subscribe to his channel. Definitely give him a follow.
Thanks.
One thing I want to talk about, you don't have to answer
Yeah,
if you don't
yeah.
want to, but I really want to hear it from your perspective.
For sure.
Breaking Point.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, Breaking Point was a metal band with a close friend of mine, John Kay, and that's how I met you.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I thought you guys were going to be the next bullet for my Valentine for Australia.
Wow.
You don't understand how much I actually loved your music.
That's I'm genuinely shocked.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, like you would come to shows. I'll never forget the people who came to our shows, and I like will always be grateful for that. But I just thought, friends, family, whatever.
I know what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Like, because they're always going to be supportive
Yes,
no matter
yeah.
what. It's good to see other people coming in to watch your show. Like people who you don't know will come.
Yeah.
That's always huge.
Yeah.
What happened? Because you guys, were touring and you guys were going all around Australia at one point, and then it just kind of like sort of tapered off, and then nothing really happened.
Yeah. I think I just genuinely think we all got busy with our own lives.
Okay.
And like you're right, we had quite a bit of momentum. I'll try not to ramble. There were a few things happening which I think was the cause. So
Okay.
yeah, like first of all, everyone got busy with their work, and then that meant it was harder to rehearse and write, and then everyone's different schedules were like conflicting. So like Dennis would work till late, and then that would mean we would have to rehearse 9 till midnight.
Okay.
So once like John and I started working during the day, then like working till midnight is tough.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
Especially if
so-
you got to be up at 6 the next day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for me, that's right. I'm up at 5:30 the next day.
Yeah.
So it can be tough.
Yeah. So I think that played a role. We were also struggling a little bit because the music was on the heavier side, but we didn't have screaming in our music. So I think
Okay.
I feel that it was hard for us to find like a random audience who
Okay.
weren't friends and family. So I think there was a bit of that happening, and what that looked like for us was we were playing gigs and having to rent a crowd, like bring friends and family to come.
Yeah.
So there was that. Sometimes we were playing to no one. Sometimes we played to a lot of people. That was disheartening as well.
Which they're playing to empty crowd?
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
Because at the same time, around then, I was in that cover band, so I was getting paid to play, and now doing original gigs where you have to pack your stuff, which could take an hour each way, packing, driving to the gig, then unpacking, then getting your stuff home is a lot of work.
I can fucking relate to that.
Yeah. And we used to only play for like 30 to 40 minutes. Whereas in the cover band, I would get paid however much, and then play for 4 hours. So for me, I was a little bit burnt by the original music thing.
Yeah, of course.
I still am. But yeah, so I think there was that too. Then I think we had the tour, we had the EP release, and then it was like, okay, now we get back into writing.
Yeah, because you got to do another
Yeah.
EP. Yeah.
And that's when we started to have struggles because
Okay.
everyone's availabilities was, well, I don't want to say everyone because like, yeah, okay, let's call it everyone's availabilities was pretty conflicting.
Okay.
So then writing sessions would mean only 3 people were there. Sometimes only 2 people were there.
Okay.
And then at the same time as well, like I was getting a little bit more into heavier music, if you could call it that. And
Like that scream sort of genre you were talking about.
Yeah, like have you heard of
like
Gent?
Parkway? Oh, like Gent, like as in, yeah, of course.
like-
that style of playing.
Yeah. Like I was getting more into that rather than the standard metalcore kill switch bullet for my Valentine sound.
Yeah. Well, that was like growing in momentum
Yeah.
around that point when you were touring as well. I remember genting was just huge.
Yeah.
Is that right? I hope I'm saying that right because I feel
Gent,
like
yeah.
genting, is that a thing?
Yeah, genting, yeah, genting on your guitar. It's the sound that
Exactly.
that style makes apparently, but it's become its own genre. So,
but it's not as big anymore. Hey, or is it still quite big?
I think it's still big. Like a lot of metalcore bands, in my opinion, have moved to that sound. Like,
Okay.
of the low tuned guitars and
Yeah.
Do you know Mick Gordon?
No, I don't.
Have you played Doom Eternal or any of the Doom
The
games?
one game I've actually been dying to play is Doom.
Yeah.
Because I see the gameplay and I'm like, I would fucking love this game. And I just never get around to playing it. So I shoot myself in the foot for that.
Check it out. I haven't played it.
Okay.
But the soundtrack is phenomenal. Like you hear this stuff, it's so like heavy sounding.
Just suits the game.
Yeah.
Just blowing freaking aliens up. Like it's just unreal.
Yeah.
I can see why now it sort of just clicked for me now when you just said you're getting into more video game soundtracks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Gent, Doom. I see the connection.
Ironically, that's not the style of music with the video game music.
Interesting.
But we'll get into that more. Yeah. So I think over time, more bands have gravitated. I'm thinking of gent too much. Gravitated to that sound anyway. So I do think it's popular still.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were leaning towards that genre. And then I think that what started the band sort of had conflicting interests, I guess, at that point as well.
Yeah. Like I was still happy to keep writing and stuff. It was not it wasn't like, oh, I like this style. Let's just call it a day. Yeah. It really just kept going until it ran out of steam. Like for a while, it was just John and I writing, and James as well at times, and then it just it got too hard because I worked evenings as well, the same as Dennis, and then even socially for me, it's hard to see anyone.
Yeah, okay.
Because of the days I work.
Yeah.
So I think it just naturally met its demise.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like you know, it's kind of like when you're friends in high school and then over time you go to uni, you just slowly, it's natural course, you just slowly drift apart over time.
Yeah.
And which is unfortunate because I thought, like, I loved your band.
Thanks,
like I did.
man.
I genuinely thought, and I don't even mean this, like, I mean this sincerely.
Yeah.
I really thought you were going to be the next Bullet from Australia.
Damn.
But that's just me. Like, I'm probably a little bit biased because I obviously know you guys.
Yeah.
John is a really close friend of mine.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a little bit of bias behind that.
Yeah.
Like even when I go to the gym, I still listen to Breaking Point.
Oh, wow.
Like every once in a while, I'm like, just that intro just G's me up. Like I'm just with the dumbbells, like getting ready to do chest. And just that intro, just that 40 seconds, just just start lifting. It's fucking great.
Thanks.
No, all good, man.
I have no, like, I would happily get back into it.
Like as in bring the band back together?
Yeah. But this might be interesting to note. Back then, we used to rehearse and write once a week, like I said, 9 till 12.
Yeah.
But every week. Like,
okay.
Yeah. So these days, when I work on my own music, it's... Sorry, let me go back one step.
Yeah, go for it.
The process back then was to rehearse and write in person and you know, every week you do it. And then you book in with a producer to go record. So you would do a day of pre-pro where the producer puts his input on the songs and then you, if you have time, you learn the new parts and then you go and record. But the way I do it now with my producer, who's Jono Peters, amazing guy.
Shout out.
Is we literally do everything as we go. So if I have an idea leading up to it, or even if I don't, we meet up on the day, we start writing and recording as we go.
Yep.
So it's super efficient, and I've been spoilt by that approach now. So while I say I'm happy to write and do stuff with the boys again, without sounding arrogant, it has to be the new way. I can't do the old way.
Like you just write and then there's no not ending, but there's no result at the end of it.
Yeah, and like and then you have to juggle everyone's own vision of what they imagine the song to be, which back then, because we were all younger, is like we all have our egos and whatever, and it has to be this way and blah blah blah. Which, mind you, we weren't that bad, but it still did exist.
Yeah, of course.
I think these days we'd all gel a lot easier.
Yeah, you've matured a bit.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
kind of willing to compromise something.
Yeah.
And then maybe get something in return for something else.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Of course.
So I would love to give it a go. I miss being in a band creatively.
Yeah.
Because at the moment it's just me and Jono doing things.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, hopefully, like if they listen, I know John will probably be listening to this, but maybe
Hey,
if the
John.
other boy, the other boys are listening, maybe, I thought you guys were great.
Yeah.
So if you get together, I'm going to take all the credit. No, I'm kidding.
We'll make the logo your face.
That'd be hilarious. Just me with a set of headphones.
Yeah.
Just doing that. I want to get into a little bit of the video game soundtracks that you're doing.
Sure. Can I just add one thing?
Of course, yeah, go for it.
We're all still in touch. Like we all talk
I know.
here
John's
and
telling
there.
me you guys are still talking.
Yeah.
So I definitely know you guys are still in touch.
Yeah, so
I'll
it's
probably for everyone else who's listening as well.
yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So the soundtracks that you make for video games. Now you said you weren't going down the Doom way. So which way are you going down? I'm really curious.
So you've played Gran Turismo, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
GT, yeah.
Are you familiar with the soundtracks from that? It's more like
Yeah, it's I can't really put a pin on the style.
Yeah.
I can hear it in my head.
yeah, it's like a jazzy fusion thing, but
Okay.
we also do like electronic stuff, and it's just not rock is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
So it's all everything else, but not rock, not metal.
Are you enjoying doing that style of music?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I am. Yeah.
Okay, that's mad.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing. As long as you're enjoying it, that's really what counts at the
Yeah.
end of the day.
Yeah, I like all styles. Well, sorry, not all styles of music. I like jazz, Latin, fusion, funk, R&B, and then I like the heavy stuff. But I
Yeah.
don't like. This might be what's the word? Controversial. I don't like rock, but I love Nickelback, and I don't like.
I think Nickelback. Sorry, you just touched something. I think Nickelback is a great band.
Yeah.
I don't get the hate, honestly.
Me neither.
So I don't know if they've done something that I don't know about, like in terms of like a political stance or something. I'm not sure, but in terms of their music, fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I think they're. I might be going out on a limb here, but to me, they're the modern day Metallica with the success that they've had.
Maybe. Oh, like, what do you mean by that though? Like
Metallica was huge, and they
Yeah.
were one of the. To me, they were one of the last bands who were able to achieve that rock star status.
okay.
And I feel like comparatively, Nickelback are close. They've been able to achieve that rock star status. The guys don't have to work day jobs.
Oh, of course not. Yeah,
anything
yeah.
like that. But stylistically, they're
Very
quite
different.
different.
Yeah. Still in like the rock scene, but you would say
Yeah.
Metallica's a lot more heavier
Yeah,
than
yeah.
Nickelback for sure. But
Yeah.
I think Nickelback definitely hits more of a mass audience.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
but,
definitely.
But Metallica's still fucking huge.
Yeah.
Like, if not the biggest band in the world, would still go towards Metallica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, because Nickelback have their radio songs, which gets that mass appeal or also mass hate. But then they also have their heavier stuff too on the albums, which is
Oh, yeah, 100%.
so good.
Yeah, man.
So good.
I've seen them twice,
Yeah.
Nickelback, and every time I've seen them, or might have been once actually, I think it's twice, but I've seen them, and every time I've watched them, they've been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like just unreal to watch. Now, funny enough, Metallica was going to do a tour in Australia. I don't know if you heard. They were coming, I don't know if they've already come or if they are coming,
Yeah.
but they announced it recently.
Okay.
And I had a friend who was able to get us tickets, and I was
Nice.
just like, I've seen them twice. Like I've seen them when they did the release of Death Magnetic, and then they came and did another tour at Soundwave.
Right.
So they were like one of the headlining guests at that metal festival. So I saw them there, and I was just like, they're good, but you can definitely tell that they've aged.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not the same impact. So, and then I was like, do I want to see them for a third time? They're creeping on in age. Probably gonna take a pass.
Yeah.
'Cause the tickets are steep as well. They're not
How
cheap.
much?
I think they were like $200 or something.
Whew.
Yeah,
For
man.
general admission or
I
like?
think so.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I don't quote me on that. I'm probably talking shit, but it was expensive.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna lean back into the soundtrack
sure.
stuff. What inspired you to start doing that? Because I know you have a love for gaming.
Yes.
I know that
Yeah.
because you've got an Instagram page, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So, is that one of the reasons that inspired you to do the soundtracks for gaming?
All right. If I'm being completely honest, the pianist in that band, we were making music for video games and stuff like that. And then that ended up running out of steam as well. And then he just contacted me to do a video game music cover band. So we're covering songs, not writing.
How does that work?
Well,
So do you go and like, is it like a gig? Like you get, how does that work?
The idea is that, yes, we play gigs.
Yeah.
Me thinking a bit longer term is I would love to host video game trivia nights and wear the band for the evening.
Dude, if you ever do that, I'll be there. That'd be sick.
Awesome. Thanks. So that's the idea for that. But honestly, I only got involved. I'm like I said, I'm super strapped for time and I can't really rehearse, but he asked me to help him. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So, and then I got James from Breaking Point, the bass player.
Yeah, yep.
To hop in, and the piano player has his niece, and we're working well together. I think.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what's the end goal for you with regards to the soundtrack stuff?
That probably
Yeah.
getting the trivia nights happening and
Yeah.
and have that as a bit of a creative outlet, but also an income producing activity as well.
Yeah, okay, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So I want to get back into, because I didn't ask you about this. So what about going to the drumming podcast? What's the kind of outcome you want to get out of the podcast? Like, what's your end goal? Or do you just go, there's no really end goal in sight?
I'm constantly going back and forth because, like, to be, I guess, brutally honest, I get big ideas, and then when I do an Instagram post or whatever, and I only get like 20 likes or whatever, it just changes my perspective.
It's deflating.
Yeah.
I feel you, man.
And it's like, I would love to have you heard of Drummio?
Oh, yeah. Isn't that like, I've heard of it. Yeah. Just explain it, just to like, is it like a tab thing?
Yeah, well, it's like they're an online drum school basically.
Yeah. It's something. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, so they get big name drummers on there. They do their own lesson, pre-recorded lesson for people.
Yeah.
I would love to get that big and become a competitor for Drummio.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, just because overall that's what I would like Drumming Mastermind to become, but with a bit more, I guess, not be as surface level as Drummio, because for me, the image I get from them is more like how to do these 10 fast fills. Like, it's very surface.
It's not very personal.
Yeah, I would like to be a bit more specific, like in depth with learn Latin drumming or learn jazz drumming.
Oh, right.
That sort of
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to get to that level. Like, that's the dream. And
Yeah.
obviously be able to monetize not the podcast, but that. Having an online school.
That'll be cool.
Yeah. But yeah, recently I've had one of those instances where I uploaded a short on Instagram, a reel, and only got 15 likes. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, I guess I'm doing this just for me then.
Yeah. But look, I feel that because obviously, because I do this podcast as well,
Yeah.
I know what that's like. You put up a video and I put up a video and I've gotten one like. I fucking kid you not.
Yeah.
And you just go, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, am I wasting my time doing this?
And you believe in what you've uploaded, because obviously you wouldn't just be uploading crap.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. Well, you don't think it's crap anyway.
Yeah. You think that something in that upload is gonna positively impact that person's day one way or another, and to fall flat is demoralizing. And like, then you start questioning yourself, is what I'm doing wrong, or is the algorithm not working for me?
Yes.
So for me personally, I find myself in that cycle of like,
Fuck yeah, dude.
Is it not good, or is it that? And that's also ties in with Breaking Point, because it, like how I said, sometimes we would play to no one. And is that because the venues aren't promoting the event? Are we actually shit? Like, what's the go? So
it's the gigging is an interesting one, because I'm gonna try and relate to that, because I used to DJ, right?
Yeah. Oh, you
And
stopped.
Sorry?
Did you stop?
I've stopped, yeah. I stopped because like I could still be DJing right now, but it was just getting really difficult, because I would be working throughout the week from Monday to Friday, and then some of the Fridays would be work during the day, then I'd come home, get ready, get dressed, go to a gig Friday night.
Yeah.
And get home at like 1 a.m. So it'd be like a 5:30 wake up, get home at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So it was like Friday would be pretty brutal.
For sure.
And then you're also making that sacrifice. Like, you would understand, being in a band, everyone's out on a Saturday night, maybe even a Sunday night, and we're out doing a gig because we believe in doing this.
Yes.
And then we play in front of fucking no one.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah.
And then for you especially, like for me, not so much, but when you're not even getting paid to do that gig, oh man, it just eats you that little bit more. And like for me, when I was doing gigs and I'd be paying no one, at least I was getting paid. I'm getting paid to be here. But then it's exactly what you said before. Is it because I'm bad? Or is it because like no one's just coming here and people are going somewhere else?
That's right.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So, and then I ended up finding out there's like, where I was DJing was like a little bit dated, and there were newer sort of pubs open nearby, and everyone was going there. And that's, it sucked being a DJ and playing to zero people, but then you'd have the nights where you play to a full crowd.
Yeah.
So then you're like, fuck, I must be doing something right if I'm getting a full crowd here. So, you got to take everything with a grain of salt, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just went on a completely different tangent.
That was my fault. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Because we're talking about what were we talking about?
We were talking about what I wanted to get from the podcast and monetizing it. Then we went into
oh, that's right. We're talking about like and then going from DJing back to this podcast now, and you put up a reel and it will get 200 views, 3 likes, and you're like, damn. But I honestly, I've taken the mindset now that I don't take it to heart anymore. I've just gone, okay. Because I've posted videos now that have hit hundreds of thousands of views.
Oh, nice.
So there was one, I don't know if you saw it, there was one that I did like blind ranking. Oh, sorry, not blind ranking. I cut a snippet of a car. And I said,
I love
guess
that
the
one.
car.
Yeah.
So a lot of people liked it.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and those videos did really well. And one of them got like 840,000 views on TikTok. But that didn't resonate with Instagram and didn't resonate with YouTube. So you're just like, well, why did it take off here and not take off there? Like, what the fuck happened? So
it's the algorithm.
Yeah, but what the fuck's the algorithm? Like, it just racks your brain.
Yeah.
But then recently I posted a video about, and I'm sure you saw it, was games developers ruin. Or what games developers ruin.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah.
That video did well across all platforms.
Nice.
Which I'm like, okay, so I've definitely done something here.
Yeah.
So I've got to try and replicate that every single time.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's what I'm trying to do now. So when I post a video, I try not to take it to heart anymore. Okay, I didn't do something right here that it just didn't take off for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But this one did. So let's try and replicate the steps. And I'll tell you off air what I think, because I feel like every time I say it, I jinx it.
Okay.
So I try not to say it. Yeah, exactly. So I try not to take posting anymore to heart and just go, okay, the reason why it didn't take off is because I just need to make it a little bit better.
Yeah,
I just got to slowly make it a bit better, a bit better, a bit better. And I've made hundreds of videos, and you can see from my first video that I posted to now, like the quality is so different.
Yeah.
So much different. So I'm thankful that I have tanked a bit so I can then grow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not going to grow from being successful. You grow from your failures to
That's
become
right.
successful.
Yeah.
So, and that's what everyone says. And I think you're doing the right thing by at least doing it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though it's fucking demoralizing and you want it and you go, why the fuck am I here?
Yeah.
It's just showing up every day and still doing it.
Yeah. Consistency. I know it's cliche.
It
but
is. It's so cliche.
Like, yeah, you just got to show up. That's the hardest part. Whether it's practicing drums or going to the gym, you just need to get there.
Yeah.
And then it's easy.
That spot on.
Yeah.
It's like once you're there, it becomes so much easier.
Yeah.
What do you find you procrastinate?
Oh, 100%.
Oh.
Yeah. The podcast was a huge procrastination because, like we were talking about earlier, it's like, who's going to want to hear me talk? Who cares about my opinion? Like, so for ages, I just didn't want to do it until, like I said, that last drummer was like, you should turn this into a podcast. And I'm like, okay, that's a sign I need to do it.
Yeah.
What else do I procrastinate about? Cutting the lawn.
Oh, that's just everyone does that.
No, but specifically, what did you want to dig
Like-
into in terms of procrastination?
Like I find when I'm doing the podcast, I don't know if it's because like our lives are going to be a lot different.
Yeah.
Right. So I procrastinate because even though I really want to do podcast work, I find that I guilt myself into I should be studying for my registration.
Okay.
Right. Because that's just for my work. I need to do this.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And because I'm like, this needs to be a priority, I then end up putting this on the back burner, even though I don't really want to put this on the back burner.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
really want to be doing this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I know that this doesn't really make me any money, and I'm doing it purely for the love of the
Yeah.
game. So I don't know if that's really procrastination or if that's really just me guilting myself. But I find as well, like when I go, okay, I've hit my study, I just want to unwind and relax. I should really be going, no, do some podcasting, do some work on the podcast.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
just find that I want to relax more than I actually want to work. And that's a bad mindset to have, for me anyway.
Well, it's not bad. It's normal.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Like, I think, like, I'm in a similar position because I'll teach all day, and lately I haven't been practicing as much as I want to. But when it comes to nighttime, when I get home at like 8:30, 9 p.m., like, obviously I need to spend time with my wife.
Yeah, of course.
We have rabbits. I want to spend time with them. And then I've also started trying to sleep by 10:30. So that kills my window of being able to be productive.
Yeah.
So I've just ended up in this crappy situation where I don't do anything good. In that window at night, I'm not fully present with my wife. I'm not fully present with the bunnies. I'm not productive. So I end up just doing like nothing. That's the worst.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And I was never like that. I used to like grind until 1 a.m. doing work. Like I'd come home, do stuff. But now it's because I've given myself that window to go to sleep early. It's just crushed it.
I feel you, man. Like, I think also, going on a bit of a tangent,
Yeah.
I've really been trying to really nail my sleep. And I find that when I get a good sleep, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
So gone are the days when we were younger, like in our 20s, where you could run on fucking no sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where now, I feel it, man. Like if I don't get at least 6, I'm just not not in the fucking mood.
Yeah.
And especially since I've stopped drinking coffee.
Oh, I don't know how you when you messaged me that, I'm like, what? This has to be a joke.
Man, I had to actually stop myself from drinking coffee.
Yeah.
Like prior to this, like I said to myself, I can only drink 1 coffee a day because I really easily just tip over and have 2 to 3 a day.
Yeah.
Easily.
100%.
Yeah. But I find that there's like a point where you just become super reliant on it for energy. And it's not really good to be reliant on energy. So that's when I limited myself. Said I'm only having one a day, just in the morning, just
Yeah.
as a bit of a pick me up, and then go. And I was enjoying that, but I still was like, another coffee would be good. So, and then I said, you know what? I'm gonna experiment for a little bit and go no coffee.
That's sick, man. That's twisted.
It was fucked. I'll tell you, man. For like 2 weeks, I was moody as fuck, dude. Yeah, dude. It wasn't a good time. But after the 2 weeks, I started to balance out.
Yeah.
I still miss drinking coffee. I've just kind of like supplemented it with like maybe some chicken stock or like a protein powder. Like just make a hot chocolate with the protein powder.
Yeah.
And it's not the same. It's just not the same.
Is it more to wake up?
I did it more because I think I've been reading that coffee can increase cortisol and therefore your inflammation goes up.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to try and decrease my stress levels. I want to try and just like maybe that'll help with my sleep because my sleep has always been broken.
Yeah.
And then I noticed when I stopped the coffee, my sleep actually got better.
Yeah.
But recently, I don't know if it's because I've been eating like shit, my sleep's tanked again.
Okay.
So it's like I got to get back to eating right. If I'm eating right again, I'm still drinking no coffee and my sleep's getting better. Okay, maybe it is the coffee, but I don't know. You know what I mean?
What I found and what a doctor told me is no coffee past midday because it takes 6 to or maybe 9 hours for caffeine to leave your system.
Yeah, it's like got a crazy half-life or something.
Yeah, so even though you could sleep, I could still go to bed, but the quality of sleep wasn't good.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So there's that, and also the best quality of sleep is before midnight. So if you go to bed at 10:30, the 1.5 hours that you get before midnight are equivalent to 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
Any sleep before midnight is like double points, basically.
Yeah, double points.
So and I definitely found when I was in a good sleep habit, overall life was better.
Yeah.
Sorry, we again going off on a tangent, but basically no coffee after midday.
Yeah.
Try to limit it to 2 coffees max.
Yeah.
And get to bed earlier.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's very healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to dive back into, well, not dive back.
Procrastination?
No. I want to change topic.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the drumming gamer.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
so you've got a page dedicated to essentially gaming.
Yeah.
Like the drumming gamer, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. The idea was that I was going to do more like drumming along to video game music as well.
Yeah.
But it was more for retro gaming.
Yeah, okay.
But now it's just become whatever. And on top of that, I haven't posted in I don't know how long.
Yeah. But when I see that page, I see your love for games.
Yeah.
Really? So do you still play games? Or
100%, yeah.
What are you playing these days?
Well, when I say 100%, I'm like I don't get to play as much as I would like.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'm the same.
Yeah. But what I in terms of modern gaming, what I'm playing is the new Like a Dragon / Like a Pirate. Have you heard of the Yakuza series?
Yakuza?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
100%.
So they changed the branding from Yakuza to Like a Dragon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I didn't know that at all.
Oh, well, there you go.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I can't remember what happened in the corporate side of the company, but they wanted to distance from that Yakuza label.
Yeah.
But it's still using the same Yakuza characters and whatever.
Ah, right. Okay. So still carrying from the... Yeah, interesting why they would just change the name.
Yeah,
Yakuza, like, you said Yakuza, and I fucking knew straight away. I'm like, that game, that was like a GTA equivalent, right? Sort of? Or more RPG.
Without the cars.
Yeah.
And not as big of an open world.
Yep.
But still, like, a big world to roam around.
Yeah. So you've been playing that?
Yeah, it got released on the 21st of Feb. So I just started playing that last night.
Yeah, yep.
And the other modern game that I started playing was the Indiana Jones one.
Oh, yeah. I've heard, I don't know. I was about to say I've heard good things, but I actually haven't heard anything about it. So what have people been saying about the game? And what's your opinion?
I haven't been paying attention to what people have been saying. I try and, unless it's a mate that I'm talking to about games, that's the only external feedback I'll get.
Yeah.
But it's, for someone who's not a diehard Indiana Jones fan, it's actually a great game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, really enjoy it. There's lots of laughs in it because, like, there's a little bit of bugginess to it.
Okay.
Which is hilarious. And of course, has a whole ton of one-liners from not Harrison Ford, but whoever's voicing Indiana Jones. Really enjoying it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but now that other Like a Dragon game has come out,
And it's
I've
back
just
on the
been-
back burner.
Yeah. So the catalog or the list of games to finish is, again growing.
Yeah. Oh, man, I feel you for that. I was going to ask, I'll split this up a little bit. So with those games, did you ever watch trailers to the game? You know how they release a trailer to G you up for the game.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch those? Or do you just go, I'm going to get this game, like, no matter what?
For the Yakuza and Like a Dragon stuff, yes. And any sort of franchise that I'm passionate about, I try to stay up to date and watch the trailers.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I don't look much. Yeah.
Like, I think for games, because I was going to relate that to movies, but movies is a little bit different because with games, you're committing a significant amount of money and time into the game.
Yes, yeah.
So watching a trailer is probably pretty important. But in saying that, I find that the trailer is always going to be just insanely, like, addictive that you're going to want to get the game.
Yeah.
It's like Black Ops, right? Black Ops 6.
Yep.
The teasing and, like, all the stuff coming up to the game, like, this was meant to save COD. Like, this was the COD that was going to bring it back up to being one of the best FPS games ever. And it started off hot and just fucking hanged.
What happened? Like, what was wrong with it?
I think a lot of people were upset with the hackers.
Okay.
So, and another thing as well is the gameplay is just not as fun anymore in comparison to the old CODs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I played it, I enjoyed Omni Movement, which is like this new mechanic they put into the game, makes moving a lot more fluid, a lot more faster.
Right.
But I've just seen a lot of people complaining. And, like, to be honest, the main thing I complain about is just, and I think this has to do with the streaming part of it.
Okay.
There's so many people playing the game and they all just want to be sweaty fucking Twitch TV fucking streamers. They want to be the best. And I'm just like, dude, I'm just fucking after work, just chilling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to fucking burst sweats. I just want to have fun and fucking go to bed.
Yeah.
And that's it. So, and that ruins the game for me personally.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's like the skill-based matchmaking thing. But anyway, that's a whole other thing.
So are you more into gaming for online multiplayer?
I used to be like that.
Yep.
I think I'm starting to change.
Yeah.
I
okay.
think I'm starting to get a bit more into RPG games now. Only because I think the story is so much, like, there's a lot more, you're getting something out of it, I guess.
Yeah.
The story is more entertaining. It's a lot more fun to play. You're the only person in control of the world.
Yeah.
So I think I'm leaning towards more RPG games.
Okay.
So, and I think that's going to be the trend over the next few years. I think online will never die, but I think FPS is slowly going to, like, dip a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a hot take.
Because of the, I guess, such a heavy and serious approach of other players, you mean?
Yeah,
Or-
100%. Like, I think streaming has definitely killed the casual gamer.
Yeah.
To just be able to jump on and have a bit of fun, for sure. Like, I would go and play with, like, my brother-in-law, my wife. We would play together.
Oh, nice.
And we had another friend, Dimmy.
Yeah.
And we used to play squads, and we'd play Warzone, and we just get pumped every game. Though.
Yeah.
Like, every fucking game. Like,
Yeah.
we might win one every 50 games.
Okay.
So you imagine you play like 20 games, you get pumped, and you're like, dude, I don't want to play this game
Yeah.
anymore. You know what I mean? It's just not fun.
Yeah.
Maybe we're shit, and that's probably why. But I didn't think we're that bad.
Yeah, I think people are just that much better at gaming.
Yeah.
And were you playing mouse and keyboard?
Yeah, I play it.
Okay.
MK.
All right,
K-band.
so you can't rely on that excuse of
Oh,
using
aim
a
assist.
controller.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. During COVID, like, we were flat out on Warzone.
Oh,
And
dude, that was peak.
Yes, yeah.
Peak COD. Those were the golden days, dude.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone fucking says. Like, if you, a lot of people, there was just like that golden era when there was all the lockdowns were happening. Everyone was just playing Warzone. It was fucking golden.
It's like when the world stops for the Olympics, but this was for COD.
100%. There's no other better way to say it. I kind of miss those days, but you know what? I'm glad I lived it, and that's in the past now.
Yeah. I get that.
I got a game for you. Actually.
Oh, yeah?
We'll play.
Tell me.
Here we go. So we're gonna do some blind ranking,
Yep.
but it's gonna be where are we? Blind ranking iconic PS2 games.
Ooh, okay.
So these, I don't know if they're like super iconic, but they're definitely iconic for that console.
Yeah. Hang on, can you explain? Blind ranking is where you have that score of 1 to 7.
So blind ranking, you've got number 1 being the best,
Yep.
5 being the worst. So it's
Yep.
5 games.
Yep.
You don't know the order of the game.
Okay.
So I'm just going to throw you a game and you're going to place it without
Yeah.
knowing the next game.
Okay. All right.
Get ready for the comments.
I was worried this was going to happen.
Yeah. All right. So game number 1 is Tekken 5.
What's the lowest score?
5. Yeah. Can you
5.
go lower than 5?
5. Just because I haven't played Tekken 5. Hang on, is that Tekken Tag Tournament?
No. So Tekken 5 is not Tekken Tag.
Okay, I haven't played Tekken 5, so...
Okay. Number 5. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm not going to roast you on that because you haven't played it, but it's a great game.
Yeah.
So number 2 is Simpsons Hit and Run.
Ooh. Okay.
Did you play that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Very fun game.
it is, yeah. I my memory of it was how you could run people over and they just
Yeah,
like
they just
roll. I love that.
That was so much fun.
As much as I like that game, I'm going to put that as 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 3, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Okay. Without rambling, I'm going to put that in as 3
Okay.
because I thrashed GTA 3 and Vice City,
Yep.
but I never got into San Andreas. Like, I didn't give it a chance.
What do you mean you didn't give it a chance, though?
I only played it at a mate's place, and that was it.
Oh, dude, Sorry, you know how people say I missed out when I missed out on the Pokemon saga. Like,
What?
Yeah, I did. I missed out on Pokemon.
No.
So,
like,
out of all the games, I never got to play Pokemon at its fucking peak. Like, Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Red, all that, never got to play it.
damn.
I know. So,
Did you even have a childhood then?
I played Pokemon Pinball. That was.
That doesn't count. No, I had that. It was good.
Yeah, no, that iconic
Okay.
Nintendo game. But Grand Theft Auto San Andreas literally has a special place in my heart.
Okay.
And for me, that would be number 1 without a doubt.
Right.
Yeah, fuck.
Hang on, you didn't tell me your other scores. Where you would put the other 2.
It's not about me. It's about you.
Okay, all right.
All right, so that's number 3. Number 4 is Need for Speed Underground 2.
Oh, damn. Okay. Hang on. I've placed position 3, right?
Yeah, so you've got 1 and 2 left.
Oh, man.
By the way, please tell me you played Underground 2.
Yeah.
Okay, thank God for that.
That was the dream game.
That game is
then.
unreal.
Yeah.
I think that was the first game that came out with that open world driving.
Yeah.
And it was fucking sick.
I remember every racing game, especially Underground 1, I was like, this is mad, but it would be so much better if you could drive anywhere.
And then they did it.
Yeah, and it was like, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, oh my God, this is sick.
Can you give me a hint on what the last game's going to be?
It's going to be another racing game.
Okay. All right. Then if it's the other one's going to be a racing game, Underground 2 is number 1.
Number 1.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? That would have been a hard pick for me between if I knew the order.
Yeah.
GDN and Underground 2. Fuck, that would kill me.
Yeah.
So the last one, number 5, is Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo 3?
I think that was the first Gran Turismo on PS2.
Yeah, or was it Gran Turismo 4? I think Gran Turismo 4 was one of the iconic ones on PS2. Or was that on PS3? I'd have to double check. We'll just go Gran Turismo 3. We'll just do that.
Yeah, well, that'll have to go in position
Number 2.
2.
Yeah.
See, because back then I wasn't into sim racing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm happy to put that as number 2.
You happy with the list, though? Or would you make any changes?
That's a good question.
So you've got Need for Speed or Underground 2 at number 1. You've got GT4 or GT3 at number 2.
Yep.
You've got San Andreas at 3, Simpsons Hit and Run at 4, and Tekken at 5.
I would probably switch Simpsons and GTA San Andreas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, to be fair, you never got to play San Andreas.
Yeah.
So that is an unforgivable sin, but we'll just skim past that. All right, so we're gonna go into another blind ranking.
Nice. This is fun.
Yeah,
I could do this all day.
I know. I love doing this. So this is blind ranking iconic PS3 games now.
Okay. I'm sorry to ruin this.
No,
I never
don't
owned
tell me
PS3.
you were a 360 guy.
Yes.
That was a war back in the day. I remember
Yeah.
people would be like, "Oh, you got a fucking PS3? You freaking man."
Hang on. So after PS2, there was PS3. The original Xbox, was that?
The original Xbox competed with PS2.
Okay. All right.
Then it was the PS3 and 360.
Yeah.
Then I think it was the PlayStation 4, and I think it was the Xbox.
Series.
I think it was Xbox X or Xbox One, or was Xbox One competing against PS5? I can't remember.
Right.
But it didn't do. I don't think it did as well with the PS4, or they might have been the same. But PS5 just fucking ran.
Yeah. I think from PS3, I haven't owned a PlayStation since PS3. I went to PS5.
Okay.
Yeah. So, oh no, that's a lie.
No,
I did have PS4, but I wasn't that into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, you were a 360 fanboy, so
Yeah.
like, that's another unforgivable sin. But we'll skim past. But you had great games because
Yeah.
you would have played Halo 3.
Oh yes.
You would have played Gears of War.
I wasn't into Gears of War. You're probably thinking, what
can
sort
you-
of gamer am I?
No. I'm just thinking like you said you played Doom, but you didn't play Gears of War.
Oh, I did. I haven't really played Doom either. I just like the music.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the music's unreal in Doom.
Yeah.
But I heard Gears of War is another great game.
I have
what-
heard that too.
What was another like really iconic game? I think COD 4 was a really big game for 360. Did you ever play COD?
The first proper COD I played was like the one during COVID, Warzone, Modern Warfare
You're
1.
joking.
Nah. It was the only COD and the first and last.
You know what? I can't fault that because at least that was a great game.
It was good, yeah.
It was a fun game to play.
It was good until every time I wanted to play it, I needed to update.
Fuck.
That
I forgot about that shit.
Yeah,
So
so-
it's like an 80 gig update or something.
my mates ask me now, are you going to get the new COD so we can play? I'm like, fuck no.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm putting myself in that situation where every time I want to play, I have to update.
And it's not just that. It's not even like a little update. It's like a 40 gig update.
Yes. Why,
Every single time.
why are you installing all the other games that I like? From what I understand, when you install COD, you're installing everything else that you don't own.
Yeah, I don't know how it works. So
Why?
I can't
I'm
comment.
not doing that.
Yeah, I know. But it's not just that. It's like you're taking like 250 gig
Yes.
of space on my computer.
Yeah.
I could put like 3 games in there.
That's
in the
right.
space of 1.
Exactly.
So like I get it from that standpoint. But you did play the original Warzone at a great time.
Yes.
So
yeah,
forgiven.
That was.
So
epic.
what games did you play on like 360 and stuff like that?
So around that era, also, that's when I was like, sort of trying to start my music career. So
Yeah.
I left games for a bit.
Okay.
I was all about practice and, not
Yeah,
gaming. So I didn't get back into gaming. I mean, this doesn't answer your question, but funnily enough, it wasn't until I met my girlfriend that I got back into gaming. And at that point, I was probably 27, 28.
Yeah.
So a lot of time had passed. I missed in between PS3 / Xbox 360 up until PS4 / Xbox, whatever the equivalent was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the question?
No,
I'm sorry.
I was asking what games you played on the 360.
Oh, yeah, okay. Very limited. It would have been Project Gotham Racing 3 or 4, whatever the first one was on that console. If I remember correctly, Sonic 06. Have you heard about that game?
No, I
Very
haven't played it.
controversial, most hated.
Really?
Game. Yeah, because it's just like so buggy. Load screens like that take 10 minutes, literally 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're so often as well. And if you die, the game restarts back to the start.
Oh, fuck. And it's probably another 10-minute loading screen or something.
Yeah. So, I think that was the nail in the coffin for Xbox 360 after that game.
Yeah, okay.
I only played it because I love Sonic, and then once that was no good,
So, yeah.
yeah.
That's fair enough, man. What we'll do, we'll probably wrap it up here.
Yeah, sure.
But, dude, thank you for coming on the show. I think I'm going to get you on for another one.
I'd love that.
Yeah.
If you can.
Dude,
Yeah.
we'll tee something up maybe around September, October.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll tee something up around there.
Definitely.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
course,
Thank
brother.
you so much.
Guys, definitely check out his page. He's got the Drumming Mastermind podcast. He's got the Drumming Gamer Instagram page as well. Follow, like his page, subscribe to his YouTube channel. Definitely listen to the Derek McKenzie podcast. He's a fucking really interesting guy. And yeah, you got anything else you want to add?
No, I guess one key point, and I don't want to. This isn't. I mean, well by this, but prior to getting into music, I was an accountant, and I hated my life doing
I never
that.
got into your origin story. That would be the next episode.
Yeah. So, I think for anyone who's in a position where they hate their current job, and there's something they want to pursue, then definitely go for it.
100%.
So cheesy and cliche, but
It's funny because even though it's cliche, it's right though.
Yeah.
Because you at least you feel fulfilled.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll wrap it up there.
Yep.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace out.